Hey church, Pastor Shane here, another community group discussion starter video. This week we finished our story in the book of Judges that we started, it seems like a long time ago now, and did the last section of the book. And it was a brutal and difficult passage to work through. The end of the book of Judges has two epilogues at the end, one that kind of emphasizes kind of how far the Israelites have fallen as they've continued to turn away from God and kind of try to find their own way through their life. And as they did that, last week we saw how that resulted in a really warped spiritual life. And this week it's more centered on the civic life of the people, where they've kind of completely broke down in their society. There's a civil war. It's a story of murder and of sexual assault. That civil war, and they almost wipe out an entire tribe of Israel in part of it. And what it really shows is they've become like the surrounding peoples. That in abandoning God and in His ways, they have totally forgotten what it means to be God's people. And so we talked about, well, how do you do that when you're just summing things up? What is the application here besides, don't do that? What is the application? And what we talked about, and it's been running through the whole book, is that we as God's people are to submit. We're to submit and to surrender our entire lives to Him. That the solution to not doing what is right in your own eyes is to submit to Jesus Christ as our King. Because God sent us a king. Like, unlike the Israelites, we have a king in Jesus Christ. And He may not be living here today, but He's reigning at the right hand of the Father right now. And He is the author and creator of life, and He is our designer. And so it is worth our while to follow Him. Not only does God demand it, but it changes and molds and shapes our lives into the way that God desires us to live. And so we talked about submitting all of our lives, not leaving just kind of part of it to the side, but every part of our life is submitted to God, not seeing everything as our own, but as part of God's plan for us and part of Him owning it and needing Him to get through the challenges, needing Him to guide us and lead us along the way, whether it's marriage or family or work or whatever it might be, that there's no part of our life that is separated, but all of it is submitted to God. And so we talked about what it might look like for us to submit as well. For your sermon discussion guide, I actually focused on one psalm that really kind of tells the story, I think, of what we need to be looking at and understanding and what it means to not go our own way, but to trust in God's way, and what it does when we actually kind of work that into our lives. And so rather than just reading over the disaster that is the negative example in Scripture, you'll be reading over what does this look like to actually live it out, and then ask yourself those practical questions. How can I actually do this in my life? Is there something where I'm not really submitting it to God and giving it up to Him, and I need to live in His wisdom and in His ways? I hope you have a great discussion working through that.